Curling Championship 2017. We're here in Edmonton, the capital of the province of Alberta in Western Canada. Edmonton gets more than 4 million visitors a year, and there are all sorts of ways of getting to this city. One of the attractions is the old town, the old Strathcona district, the old Edmonton, if you like. Worth taking a visit here, as is City Hall, which is a downtown Edmonton landmark.
All right, curlers, in just a few moments, this ice will be yours. Good luck, good curling.
And just on the outskirts is the Northlands Coliseum, and that really is the place to be this week to watch the best curlers on the planet going for this 2017 world title. Great atmosphere inside the arena this evening. Great crowd in to watch the action, and we're into draw 5, session 5, and our featured game in this one is Japan against Scotland. Japan going well, and Scotland up and running with a win in the previous session. So we're all set. I'm Alison Walker, and alongside me, Hans Fraunlob, New Zealand Olympian. We'll be giving you live commentary on our featured game and giving you updates from elsewhere in the arena. And the crowd really getting hyped up ahead of this action, and the players just want to get things going now, but no doubt enjoying the attention and the action. The crowd all set, most of them, I guess, in to watch Canada, but they'll be keeping an eye on all the other games. And here are the lineups. Japan, the lead, Kazuki Morozumi. At second, Tsuyoshi Yamaguchi. Japan's third player, Tetsuro Shimizu. And their skip, Yuzuki Morozumi. For Scotland, the lead, Mike Goodfellow. Second player, Scott Andrews. Greg Drummond is their third player. And the skip, David Murdoch. Standings so far: Canada, Japan, Sweden, Italy. The top 3, 2 wins, no losses. 2-1 for Italy, Switzerland and Norway, 1-1. Early days, 1-1 for Scotland as well. Germany and US, 1-2. China, Netherlands and Russia yet to get off that winning mark. But long way to go yet. So elsewhere we have China against Russia on sheet A. Canada go against Sweden on sheet B. It's Norway, Netherlands on sheet C. And our featured game, Japan and Scotland, taking place on sheet D. So we will keep you updated on another important series of round-robin matches. And the main action will be Japan against Scotland. So packed crowd inside, ready for the action. And a quick word with Hans, looking forward to this game, Hans. And both teams have got wins under their belt, but every win really does matter now, doesn't it?
Well, it does, Alison, and hello, everybody. It's Sunday night here in Edmonton, and the place is buzzing as you'd expect, and you're right. The teams want to get off to great starts in these tournaments. They are playing a full 11-game round robin, but any of them would tell you you'd much rather be 0-2 or 2-0 rather than 0-2, and Japan off with that 2-0 start. And as you mentioned, David Murdoch getting on the board with a win this afternoon. I think that was important for him. He lost a game to Norway last night, and he's opened his account, so this should be a barn burner tonight. A lot of offense from both teams. Their instinct is to attack, and so it should be pretty entertaining.
Yeah, we're looking forward to this one.
You see that Scotland has got the hammer here in the first, winning the last stone draw.
A hugely experienced Scotland team. The Japan team too, 6 World Championship now, and so they've got a lot of experience, and they've been together a long time too.
Well, they certainly have, and this year they finally broke through. They've been perennial runners-up at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships, and this year they finally won their first Pacific Asia Championship. So this is their first Worlds as regional champions, and so lots of experience on this Japanese team.
And that gives them a huge lift, good confidence booster as well. This is the lead player, Kazuki Morozumi, born in Nagano, Japan, and plays out of Aizawa Curling Club. the team 9 years or so. And generally regarded as the kind of spokesman of the team, isn't he? Kind of good English and a real buzzing character, Kuzuki.
He certainly is. He's a bundle of energy.
Mike Goodfellow, the lead for Scotland. 18 years curling, Mike. 7 years on this team now. Very good golfer as well, and of course, silver medal at the Sochi Winter Olympic Games in 2014.
Yep. Gotta go. Hard boys.
From Stirling in Scotland.
As we thought, Japan without the hammer throwing the center guard, and Scotland straight around it. And now Japan straight to the corner freeze. So as we thought, both teams pretty unafraid to mix it up right here, right from the opening.
Well, that's certainly good from our point of view. We want
Too right.
lots of stones in play.
Not bad there from Kuzuki. Little bump, they would have liked the freeze, but good angle for Japan. Game on.
Won't be far away. Not anymore. Definitely wider line. Line's good. T-line. Room. Lots of room. T-line. No. Nothing. Top 8 now. Wide open, guys. We're wide open.
Scotland trying to come around, but didn't curl as much as they were hoping, and it's wide open for Japan. Great chance here for the Japanese to play down weight and hit and flop behind that pile on the center line.
And they might have learned a little bit from the line of Scotland's stone there. This is second player, Yoshi Yamaguchi.
Looks like he's been fooled a little bit by the line as well. This one's not curling. No inside roll. Rolls to the wing and probably just off the rings. It's hard to say. David Murdoch taking a long look at it. And there's a great shot, thanks team, from our overhead. Certainly near enough to the rings where Murdoch is uncomfortable leaving it there.
Yep, get rid of the trouble.
Weight's good. Normal.
It's down to Scott Andrews. 27 now. From Irvine and lives in Kilmarnock in Scotland.
So that's 3 in a row down that out-turn side. And Allison, the rules of play.
Yep, 6 ends. And we saw in the previous session, 6 ends minimum. The Russia-Canada game, it finished at 6. So 38-minute thinking time and 160-second timeout.
My goodness. Well, that's 4 in a row on that out-turn side that's fooled both teams. Looking for curl that's just not there. He was trying an angle raise and pretty straightforward shot, but he blew it right by. Look at this stone. He was trying to hit about a quarter of it and drive it onto the Scottish rock, but
there was no movement there at all, was there?
a very quiet takeout, as they call it in curling. So opportunity now for Scotland. They've got the hammer here in end number 1.
Line's good, guys. You can get it deep. Come on. Gotta go. Just like hard, Dave. Whoa, then. Keep going to get it off.
This is Setsuru Shimizu, third player, 29. Seems to be around forever. He's 29 from Nagano. He's a student.
Well, you see that so many times where I think there's a spot where you know there's curl and then a few run straight and then you tighten up the ice and down the weight and all of a sudden you crash the guard.
Yeah. Just going to leave this, but yeah. I think it'll be. Once it's on the line.
First look at Greg Drummond, 28. Originally from Dundee in Scotland, now lives in Stirling.
Here, quiet.
He's a full-time athlete.
Quiet. Whoa, yep. Here down.
Part of that silver-winning team in Sochi.
Hard. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Good. That was actually the shot wide.
Nice shot there from Greg. He repositions his own stone and gets a bit of separation. That will help them out. Angle's pretty good here though for Tetsuro Shimizu.
Alt virker som litt mot den banen der. De får mye mer finish den veien, mens de ble standet han selv om han var nok så daff ut på siden der. Det er du spesielt. For han spilte, og han var daff på vanlig fart, og jeg trodde han skulle køle over, og likevel så traff han.
Greg Drummond world silver in 2011 and 2012, bronze in 2013, but the gold has eluded him and his team. Although Dave Murdoch, of course, been there and done it with another team. Where's this one going to finish?
Well, kind of an opportunity lost there for Scotland. It was a great chance to set up a deuce by using the protection of the front stones, but really nowhere near it. So Yusuke Morozumi will say thank you very much.
It was swayed both ways here. Hands haven't ways. Things haven't gone according to plan at all for either team. And they're reacting, you know, after each stone to a new situation.
That's right, I heard David Murdoch being interviewed after the afternoon game today, and he said in his post-game interview that he thought the ice conditions were improving. They were a little sketchy yesterday, maybe a bit frosty, but according to him, better today and more suited to their game. But yeah, certainly here in the first end, both teams being fooled a little bit.
So we're on to skip stones now in this first end.
Chance for the outside roll. Hides a corner, and that's not a bad shot.
Yep, nicely done.
Japan would be pretty happy to force Scotland to one. Great look at it, thanks team. Tucks in at least two, third behind the net. Scottish team discussing the split times they're looking for David Murdoch.
So the skip then, David Murdoch, 38, now 29 years curling, Olympic silver, won world gold twice, of course, a few years ago now. Hugely experienced.
Gotta go! Hearts got it. Hard! Hard! Hearts got hard! Come on, go, Everett. Keep going!
Oh, nice brushing there by the front end, dragging it all the way into the 8-foot and hiding well behind cover. So big decision now for the Japanese.
Yeah, that'll have got the heart rate going for sure for the two Scots.
Well, any good front end player would say, you know, that's what we're here for. That's what they take pride in.
Yep, that's what they train.
And if you haven't seen this Japanese team playing before, you see Yusuke Morozumi lining up with what looks like a double angle raise. And you think that's an unusual call. Well, get used to it. They love these shots.
They played a fantastic one in the game we commentated on this morning against the Netherlands. Great to watch. Goes through his pre-delivery routine. Composed, focused.
Needs to hit about a quarter of that stone on the outside. It's close. How do you like that?
Goodness, that's fantastic stuff.
He'll be disappointed that he didn't stick the shooter. A great shot there by Morozumi.
Yep, nice shot we saw there. Absolutely.
Here we see he was looking for about a quarter contact. He hit it a bit thick and didn't drive it on the angle that he was hoping for, but he removes the Scottish stone. Nice shot there from Yusuke Morozumi.
So everything's changed again.
Still a chance here for David Murdoch to use that corner guard, however, and generate a skip's deuce.
Last stone of this first end.
Oh, my apologies. He was drawing for his one. Well, that one's sliding, but looks pretty good.
Pulling up in time for Scotland and Dave Murdoch. So Scotland up and running. It is just the one after 1, Japan 0, Scotland 1.
Remember we questioned it even my last one. Remember how I said to you in practice? That was the one I... 忘れてた。忘れてた。私が中初。初じゃないけど初。完全に忘れてた。上がれなかった。Du satte den perfekt. Gir den litt mindre is. Håret trang. Linja bra. Ok. Linja bra.
So second end of this featured game between Japan and Scotland. Scotland with a score of 1 in that first end. It had a little bit of everything really. Lots of errors. One fantastic shot. A couple of nice draws as well.
bit of a scrappy old first end. There's a really interesting first stone from my good fellow in the free guard zone. First 4 stones of the end. The opponent can't remove the opposing stone from play, so Japan, as we say, love the offense, and so they're going to be throwing a corner guard just about anywhere that Murdoch would have put his stone. Sweeper's really working this one, though. It's going to be a long one.
It's made it. It's made it over.
Top 8, top 4.
And the lead player so important in curling.
Line's good.
Stone
Top
placement
4.
absolutely crucial as the end progresses.
Top line. Get better. Top line. All Scott.
We mentioned the free guard zone rule, and the introduction of that rule
Top button.
elevated the importance of the lead position.
You can go.
Of course, every player in the team is important, but in my view, the lead position is second only to the skip position in importance in terms of the outcome of the game. You get a poor performance from your lead, and you're in a world
You're
of
struggling.
trouble.
Yeah. You need a very, very good skip to get you out of it, which can happen.
Spend a lot of time bailing water out of the leaky boat if your lead is having a rough game. Suki Morozumi looking intently.
So you're not allowed to remove these, but you are allowed to touch them. You can move them along or nudge them or...
So, Kosuki a little bit short with that attempted freeze and overlaps the center guard, so a great chance now for the Scots to defend the fort.
Halfway. Halfway.
Oh, Greg.
Halfway.
Greg, Greg.
2.5.
Just Greg.
Get ready, Greg. Really hard at the end. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Go, 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 go. What? Okay.
Oh, really?
Over to sheet B, let's check on Canada against Sweden. Big game for both these teams, Hans.
Well, it looks like Nicodine has a draw for 2, but he's going to have to hit the button to do it. Lots of stones jammed around that button area. If you're looking ahead in the program, when the draw was made up, you'd be saying, this is a battle of the Titans, and so big shot here right in the first end of the game.
It's looking nice, though.
It's a piece of that button. How far is it going to slide? Oh, it just uses all of the button, and it's a deuce.
Great start for Sweden.
Also takes the Canadian crowd out of the game a little bit with that deuce.
Although he is a very popular player here, Nicholas Edin.
That's absolutely true, Allison. Nicholas and his teammates spend a lot of time in Canada playing all of the tour events, and yes, very well liked. And that's a great little split there for Team Japan. So Scotland's got a stone well defended. They're going to have to be cautious. And David Murdoch recognizing the danger straight away, choosing to eliminate one of the Japanese stones.
Almost heavy. Oh, left, left. Oh. Oh. Mike, if you can. Oh.
Little inside roll, which gives them a bit more protection around that long corner guard. And now Scotland lies 2 at least, and possibly 3. They'd love to double these off if they can. There's 1 and 2. Pushes it back deep in the house. They'd love to get it out and get that top counter into play.
It looks like it's still nibbling.
Oh, it is nibbling. Tsuyoshi Yamaguchi moves 2 stones. Nice job. I think that the Scottish stone at the back of the house may still be second shot, however. Morozumi sweeping it for all he's worth.
Go on,
So
make it
Yoshi
go
trying
out.
to give it a little bit of a helping hand with his foot and a bit of hip action there.
Top 8, top 4, top 8. Yeah, just top 4. Line's good. Top 4, top 8. Line's real good. Just biting forward. Yep. Line's perfect, guys. Get it here. Come on.
Dave
gotta
Murdoch
go,
likes it.
guys. Gotta go. Keep going, keep going, keep going.
Half in the 8 foot. I think they would have liked full 8 foot, but that's pretty good. So decision time now for Yusuke Morozumi. He's got a couple of tap backs and run-ins, or he can just draw.
Just taking a look at the angles.
He's choosing the intern side for Tetsuro Shimizu. Going to try and navigate that port and play hack weight at that stone out there in the wings.
That's good. Yeah, over here. That's good. That's good.
Not far away.
Nice shot.
Ian Tetley, the Scottish coach from Canada.
Ian is a fairly legendary figure in the curling world as well. He's a 3-time world champion, and there have been a few 3-time world champions in the history of our sport, but can't think of any other world champion that's been a world champion on 3 different teams.
Been working with Scotland for a couple of years now.
Inside roll coming up here for Team Scotland, but will it roll too far? It does spill right out of the rings, so opens the door a little bit.
And there's Hatomi Nagaoka, coach for Team Japan. Got new glasses this year.
She's looking quite flash.
She's looking great. And
Long-time coach with this team and very much a part of the program. They're from the town of Karuizawa, as Allison told us off the opening. That, of course, is an Olympic city. That's where the first ever full medal, well, not the first ever, going back to 1924, but in the modern Olympic winter program, 1998.
And that really was what got Japan into curling. I mean, that's been a massive development to the game since then.
So a chance for Shimizu to try and poke that Scottish stone out, but instead he pokes it behind the guards.
Meantime, we'll head over to sheet A and see what's happening with China and Russia. Russia really have a torrid start to this round robin, up against China. Second end. And the Chinese skip Louis Ray.
You're absolutely right. The Russian boys have had a really tough time of it in the first 2 games. John Schuster and his U.S. team gave them a dealing to last night, and again today, Brad Gushu and the Canadian team. And again, unfortunately for Team Russia, they're looking up again.
Yep.
2 points on the board there for China.
Trying to get off to a good start there with a couple of shots.
And back to our feature game, and although Japan's got the hammer here in end number 2, Scotland with a great chance here to apply a lot of pressure.
Top 4, top 5. Room for sure. Top 5. After the 4. Still room. Top 5.
How's the line here?
Line only.
Well, we know they're going to finish hard, and that's a question. The line's looking not bad, but well by those guards. They don't want it to slide behind the tee line, but just past it. So chance now for the Japanese to just follow that one down.
It came down pretty nice.
Oh, yeah.
Good throw.
Man, funny, it was like hanging in the right guard and it still curled.
まあ13点俺は8だったけど。
ぐらいだと思う。13.4 で超えたんで。
ちょっとだね。7。
Always thinking, always reviewing, always trying to work out what your opponent's going to do next, and then what you'll do next after that.
Well, that's exactly right, Allison. A curling game is a set of 160 recalculations, really. Here's Yosuke Morozumi. Big shot here early in the game. Great chance here to maybe generate a deuce if he can freeze on top of Dave Murdoch's stone.
Yeah, similar line to Dave's here.
Oh! Sweeper touches the stone.
Recovers, he recovers. So where's it going to finish?
Might have overcurled. I think Scotland might still be shot.
I have to say, what a great recovery from Kazuki.
This is something that World Curling TV colleague Ann Swisshelm has picked up on. However, Kosuke Morozumi is a super strong sweeper, but sometimes his sweeping technique, he gets behind the rock, and it does make him prone occasionally to
Makes him a bit
find
unstable.
a guard when he's staying so intently on the stone. And as you said, Alison, fantastic recovery. But now we'll get a look at it. And just watch Kosuke's right foot as he comes back in.
It's almost like you didn't even see that stone
Exactly.
there.
So focused on the rock
Yeah.
moving that the
But yeah.
foot placement gets dangerously close to the guards.
And misses that other guard though.
Here's another look at it. Watch Kosuke's right foot goes back, comes in,
Oh,
stays out of the path of the running stone, so
mind just to avoid that other red one.
the stone fractionally over curls, so we think Scotland is still lying one.
Top four. Top four. That's where we want. Top four. Line's real good. Line's still good.
So David Murdoch now electing to really cut down the
Gotta go wait. Hard.
scoring area for Japan by coming into the top four.
Gotta go. Gotta go, guys.
Yeah, block any pathway here. Is it going to get there though? That's enough to ask the question. Over to sheet.
Looking at Team Canada now, Brad Gushu, Canadian skip. Looks like he has an open hit for two. If he can nose this one, he can tie this one up. And he is
Crowd like
right
it.
on the
Crowd
money.
like it. No problem there for Brad Gushu and Team Canada.
Yeah, the crowd will tell you who scored here. Hometown Team Canada tying it up.
I enjoyed that.
I'll tell you who's not enjoying it right now, and that's Yosuke Morozumi. He's facing a very difficult but makeable raise. He's going to try and squeak by that yellow one, hit the red stone just short of the rings, straight back onto his. If he makes it, he scores two, and that would be a tough two.
Just like that.
Yeah. This is the side of the ice that really fooled the teams in the first end. Let's see what happens here. One and two, and they wanted to sit, and it is a two for Japan.
Another fantastic shot from the Japanese skip. You wouldn't know it though. He's
Cool customers, Yosuke. Tell you what, his heart is pounding right now, Allison.
Yeah, doesn't say too much. More relief, I think, than anything else. That was a really difficult shot.
It was. They almost overswept it after all that sweeping down the ice, but gets the jam on the back stone. And
Yep.
watch for the fist pump when he realizes, yep, that's a 2.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah, and he's smiling now. The heart rate beginning to calm down. They have a 2-1 lead after 2. Scotland 1-2. Japan.
In the universe that is distinctively curling, the stars have now aligned to deliver the world's ultimate showdown to the world's entertainment capital. Whether you're a storied veteran of events past or a future superfan anxious to attend your first, this is the one. The 2018 World Men's in Las Vegas with our most popular package, the 9-day, 10-night hit and stay for 2 people for just $20.29.
Las Vegas rocks.
You're watching live coverage from the Ford World Men's Curling Championship 2017. We're in the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton, in Canada. A warm welcome to you. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're enjoying all the action here from me, Alison Walker, and New Zealand Olympian Hans Fraunlob. This is our feature game between Japan and Scotland. And we've seen some good stuff so far, actually. It's been a good watch between these two.
Well, we saw Japan conjure a deuce out of thin air. Lots of rots in play there on the second end, and things were looking pretty good for the Scots, but cracker of a final stone by Morozumi, and Japan have their nose in front.
So Scotland looking to build something in this third end.
Look at the curl as the stone well by the guard, but watch, it's going to curl across the guard and it's going to actually pop out the other side. Huge finish. That's what often happens in curling events early in the week. The ice crews treat the rocks and they tend to curl a little bit more earlier in the week. And we saw a great example of that one there. Speaking of curl, this one
There
over
we go.
curls and crashes the guard.
Yeah, it can work both ways too.
Sure can. So it's green light go for Team Murdoch.
Top 12. Line's good. Top 8. Wider. Top 4. Weight's good. No line. Top 4. Just Greg. Top 8. Greg. Come on, top 4 is getting a curl. Gotta go, gotta go. Come on. Hard, hard. Go, 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 go. Keep going.
And as we watch that one finish there, let's head over to sheet C for Norway against the Netherlands. Norway 1 win, 1 loss. Netherlands 2 defeats so far. Second end. And the last stone here.
This is Stefan Wallstad. For the last 10 years, we've been used to saying Team Norway, Thomas Ulsrud, but this team defeated Team Ulsrud in the Norwegian men's final. Nice tap there into the rings. 1 for sure, and it's a second point, so a great start there for the Norwegians.
Debut for this Norwegian team at this World Championship. In fact, to our feature game. 2-1 Japan, as you can see. Third end.
Weight's good. Body out. A little bit forward. Close. Whoa. Whoa. Weight's good. No. Off. Whoa. Forward. Whoa.
Can't afford to be high side or they'll jam. They're waiting for this one to curl. Here it comes. Safely past his own stone in the button. Just.
Possibly a bit closer than he would have liked there.
Hold your breath. Yeah, trust it's going to finish. It's going to finish. Whew, finished.
Just how they meant it to be.
Yeah, never in doubt. Tsuyoshi Yamaguchi. Chance here to double the Scottish stones off. There's one, but it's jammed straight onto the other one. And worse for the Japanese, stuffs it right behind that guard.
Yeah, that wasn't quite the plan.
Up here.
So as the legendary Canadian curler Don Duguid would say, there are two schools of thought on this one, Allison.
So what's Mighty throw?
One plan would be just zip around the guard right on top, and that seems to be the choice that Dave Murdoch has made. The other choice you could make is just draw it to the wing, get some separation, and try to get your two that way. But I think this is the right call.
It's still early in this end, isn't it? Still other chances will follow.
Well, and if you do make here, you bring three into play. If you draw the wing, you're saying, okay, we'll try to trade shots and get separation and score two. But you make this one great, there's a chance that you get a three.
So this is a more aggressive call.
It is, and we talked about the aggression that both of these teams have, and I'm not surprised that they bias towards the choice that is the more aggressive play. Especially in this situation where early in the game, you've got the hammer, you've got something working, and so risk reward, why not take your shot? This man, however, who I like to call the Shinkansen, is Tetsuro Shimizu. He loves throwing these big weight run backs.
Let's see what happens with this one. Leaves one hanging about.
Well, lots of granite flying there, but importantly, he moves the stone off the center line and exposes the shot rock. Still a corner guard for Dave Murdoch to use, however.
This way. Back. I'll go that way if you want. You feel that's
that
better
here,
shot.
but you leave this.
I know. That was my thinking.
They were considering coming around that corner guard, but Dave Murdoch says if we throw it around that corner and leave it high, that leaves the Japanese the hit and roll off the one in the top of the forefoot to roll behind both of them. So they're going to elect to go to the open side.
Top four. He's pretty positive with it.
Line's good.
T-line.
Line's good.
T-line.
And this Japanese team is so skilled at the big weight takeouts. The Scottish team will be aware that they can't leave it high. They have to have it dead parallel and take away any chance of a double takeout.
Don't give Japan the opportunity.
That one slides a little deeper than they would have liked, but it's a very flat cross-house double, so you can see there that Yasuki Maruzumi says, I still want to get it over there, Tetsuro. Tetsuro can certainly throw it hard enough to get action to make it go almost sideways.
And is it all about the hard?
And the cleanliness of the release and the rotation. So with this kind of weight, well, he is throwing in turn, but the weight has an awful lot to do with it, because you have to hit this stone really thick to make it go straight sideways, just goes behind it. So he just had to be a little bit more on the nose.
Yeah, wasn't far away.
Sure wasn't.
And worth taking the chance of that?
Well, you know, it's frankly, I think it's a slightly aggressive call there, too aggressive from Yasuki, because it was so flat, and this has opened the door for what Dave Murdoch has hoped for, which is basically a free shot to go around the corner guard. And then you've got great separation between your stones if you're Scotland and you're feeling pretty good about your deuce. So a little bit more conservative play for the Japanese might have been just to play control weight and roll it over, take the play towards that stone, and then Murdoch would have had to deal with it. But that's the way this Japanese team plays. And They practice those shots a lot and they make them a lot.
Yep, and you should always believe you can make it before you even throw the stone. So
Absolutely right.
Just top it.
there's a timer, 14.9.
Well, that's getting pretty pacey. Players will be happy to see that. Those split times in last night's game were in the 13.5 range, so the longer the split times, that means the rock is actually traveling slower, but in curling terms, that means the ice is faster. You don't have to use as much force to propel it down the ice, and players like that. They like faster ice. Now we see the angles are very much better for the Japanese to go cross house. Great look at it there. Thanks a lot, team. Make this. There's another great look from the overhead. You'll have to hit just about half. On the broom side, try to make a double takeout across the house.
Difficulty scale here?
Well, for these guys, you know, on a 100% maximum difficulty, this would probably be about a 50%er for Yosuke. It's a steepish angle, but pretty receptive. Maybe a little thin, and it is. It rolls behind the target stone.
Just didn't quite catch it at the right angle there.
Yep, just needed a bit more contact. So again, another great chance for the Scots. Look at the contact point. He needed about half. He hit about a quarter. Because he hit it thin, it goes behind the second shot. The nice thing for Dave Murdoch early in the game, Allison, is he's getting a lot of chances to zero in on his draw weight. Nice stone there from Murdoch. And Scotland lies too.
Got a bit of cover as well.
So another choice now for Yosuke Morozumi. Looked for a moment there like he was considering the freeze.
You know, there's a lot going on in this arena, Hans. Sometimes I wonder, can the players really just focus on their own sheet? So much noise and...
They can do. For the newer teams like the Netherlands team, their first World Championship, the buzz of a big crowd and playing in front of a big crowd, it's a bit distracting. But for these teams, they're both very skilled at locking out the distractions. Doesn't mean you're not aware of the crowd, but once the game is on, your focus is very much on the field of play. So safe play there from Team Japan. For a minute there, I thought they were, well, they patted the broom in front of the stone in the forefoot to consider a freeze, which would have been a really daring play, but sanity prevailed for the Japanese. And conservative play, and now a relatively straightforward shot for the deuce here for Team Scotland.
And he's practiced these a few times now, so shouldn't present too many problems for him. Last stone of the third.
You love playing the same shot twice, back to back, so just a slightly wider line than his first one, so he doesn't go near the guard, but very familiar stone here for David Murdoch. Sweeper's really pounding this one, though. They do need at least half of the 8 foot. Have they got it there?
Has he been a bit cautious?
Oh, no. Well swept by the Scottish lead and the second stone. And it's a deuce for Scotland. So Japan with the deuce, Scotland with the deuce straight back. So after 3 ends of play, Scotland takes the lead, 3-2.
I should easily the same. F normal. はいはいはい、じゃあごめん俺入ってこうだと思った次決まった風のコールしてた決まったと思ったら全然当たんなかった
So Scotland with the edge in our feature game. And on to end number 4 now.
Line's good. Keep it close. Go Scott, go Scott.
Tightest line.
Trading deuces, so using a boxing match analogy, they're just trading punches and measuring each other, and nothing really to choose between them at this point. We mentioned the upcoming 2018 Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang, Korea, and I've watched this Morozumi team for a number of years in Japan, and I can tell you for certain that they are absolutely burning to represent Japan at the Winter Olympics. There hasn't been a Japanese men's team at the Winter Olympics since 1998 when they were the host nation.
Yep, the women have been there, of course. So it would mean a lot for them to be there, a huge amount. As it would for all these teams competing at the World Championships and beyond.
Absolutely.
Mike Goodfellow, 95% hands for a lead player. You would settle for that, wouldn't you?
It's pretty handy. Although I'm sure if you asked him, he'd say, I've still got things to work on.
Yeah, well, last week, John Conway was 100% for Team Canada at the Women's Worlds in a couple of our games. I know they're popping in this week, the women's team, Canadian World Champions.
Yeah, it was a very, very convincing performance by Rachel Homan and her teammates in Beijing.
Kazuki Morozumi, Japanese lead. Talking about curling in Japan. Been part of the World Curling Federation since 1985. Around 10,000 curlers in the country. On sheet C, we have Norway against the Netherlands.
Well, looks like a lot of red Norwegian rocks well defended, so tough shot here for Jaap van Dorp trying to save the end. First timers at the World Championships, as we mentioned. There hasn't been a Dutch team at Men's World since 1994.
But also this Norwegian team, first timers for them too.
Absolutely
This new
right.
Norwegian team, so the two newcomers.
Well, this one looks like it's still sliding, and my goodness, all the way back into the back of the 8-foot, so it looks like a steal of at least 2 and 3 by the looks of it. 3 it is, so a big steal of 3 for Norway.
Yeah, disappointing for Netherlands, 5-0 down. back to our featured game. You can see the packed crowd round the outside watching this. And really close to the action as well.
Well, this is a great venue with a lot of history. This will be the last major event to be held at Northlands Coliseum, but there have been World Championships in curling, Canadian Championships in curling, and also the former home of the Edmonton Oilers of the National Hockey League. So Stanley Cup trophies have been raised in this building, so it's a great venue for sightlines, and the fans love it here.
It's still going to be functioning as an event place for concerts and things, but no more sport.
That's right. I don't know if you talk to any of the players, and I've had lots of my Facebook friends confirm this for me worldwide when I made the comment yesterday. As a player, if you're going to play in a World Championships in a city in Canada, and Edmonton is one of the tops and probably the top place to play. The fans here are knowledgeable, they're supportive, they know the game. Even though they're here to support the Canadian team, they support all the players, they appreciate great play. So Edmonton is a fantastic place to play if you're a curler.
Very, very passionate city about this sport. Yamaguchi, 70%, the second player. I've seen a couple of wayward shots from him, but plenty of time to build on that percentage.
Yeah, Japan could use one now right there from Tsuyoshi. They're looking at 3. Trying to save the shooter, but it might be over curling. Pops out. They were hoping to tuck behind those overlaps, but now we can see from the overhead at least half of it will be available to Dave Murdoch on the intern side. And
here we go, updates from all the other games on the sheets. That's the latest. Most games in the 4th end now. This is the one we are concentrating on though. And this is Greg Drummond for Scotland. Third player, 79% for Greg.
Just trying to pick out that Japanese stone.
This one on the outside.
Nicely played. So it's decision time for Yusuke. You could bail out right now and just double those off and think about the blank, but that corner guard is still lurking. So if you do make this play, you do run the risk of Dave Murdoch zipping around there and forcing you to take one.
Shimizu, 73% the player. So a couple of great takeouts from him. And a couple missed as well.
Stuffs it straight back, so Scotland still lying 1, but the Japanese stone right in front of it's threatening. You can conceivably run that back and roll your own onto the rings and generate a 2 that way.
Yeah, the men's team have a little bit to live up to, the Japanese men's team, compared to the women's team, who of course won their first ever silver medal in swift current for Japan last year. So they've set the benchmark.
They have, and not, you don't want to incite gender rivalry, Allison, but I can tell you in talking to the boys that the Japanese women's program has had a ton of attention in Japan, rightfully so. They've been great teams to watch over the years, not only Satsuki Fujisawa's silver medal winning team, but Akikato and many, many great Japanese women's teams over the years that have endeared themselves to the Japanese public.
Yep.
But these boys want to get the Japanese men onto the map as well, and they've been working so hard. They had a great World Championship last year, so the way that you get to the Olympics is you accumulate qualification points in the 2 World Championships immediately prior. Top 7 of those nations directly qualify, along with the host nation, Korea. And then there's a final 2 places that are available through the Olympic qualifying event, which will be run in December. But everybody wants to direct qualify. Japan finished 4th at last year's men's worlds, and have already got 2 wins on the board here, so they're well on their way to qualifying directly for Pyeongchang.
They still need a good finish here after the action this week, and we will keep you updated with all the scenarios once everything is done and dusted. So much to happen before then, though.
Just don't want anything back here that if I've got a splat.
And speaking of Olympics, usually you consider Team GB a lock to be qualified for the Winter Olympics, but a little bit of work to do for Team Scotland here. They're currently ranked 7th after the first year of Olympic point gathering. So
Women's team have qualified.
women's teams are in, so we're back to this gender thing again. So go women. But Dave Murdoch, if he finishes top half of the field here, should lock in the place for GB for Pyeongchang as well.
It would be unthinkable for a GB men's team not to be there, but you know, 82% for this tournament so far, Dave Murdoch, which is a pretty steady stat for the Scottish skip.
Just Mike. Got room. Line's really good.
Said to me, just wanted one more stab at it in the Olympics, just one more go.
Well, he's a bit miraculous, and something was pointed out to me by, I'll say a former Scot, but I guess you're never a former Scot, a New Zealander now, Peter de Boer, who pointed out to me, who now lives in New Zealand, but formerly from Scotland. He said that David Murdoch has won the Scottish Championship, spot the pattern here, in 2005, 2009, 2013, and 2017. And guess what happens the following year of each of those Scottish wins? It just happens to be the Winter
Olympic
Olympics.
To do that once, maybe 3 times is,
And what Peter de Boer also maybe wouldn't want me to add is in that 2005 Scottish Championship, David Murdoch did defeat one Peter de Boer. But yes, David has a silver medal at the Olympics. He would love nothing better to go back again and maybe reach the top of the podium.
but these guys from Japan very much have their eyes on that prize too,
Too right.
ultimately, so.
Looking for the roll.
Not much of a roll, really.
No, a little bit of a misread there, I think, on the sweep read. Looking for cover behind that Scottish stone, but not getting it. So great chance now for Scotland to at least generate the force the Japanese to take one.
Normal. Wait. Normal. Whoa. Yep. Whoa. 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 Normal. Yep. Good.
Hits and sticks. And that will
Just changes the angle a little bit as well, so Morozumi couldn't double them in blank, so it will be the force.
So the Scottish strategy paid off in this end.
Yes, it has. If you're Team Scotland, you're pretty happy about your position in the game so far. Tough opponent, but you're about to go to the 5th end, no worse than even with the hammer. So,
Yep, any team would take that, wouldn't they?
yep.
So last stone of this 4th.
Quiet wait. Nice job by the sweepers holding the line, though. And
Yep, that was important there. Make sure of that one. Crowd appreciating the action there. It's a level game after 4. Japan 3, Scotland 3.
universe that is distinctively curling, the stars have now aligned to deliver the world's ultimate showdown to the world's entertainment capital. Whether you're a storied veteran of events past or a future superfan anxious to attend your first, this is the one. The 2018 World Men's in Las Vegas with our most popular package, the 9-day, 10-night hit and stay for 2 people for just $20.29.
Las Vegas rocks.
There's the numbers thus far in this our feature game between Japan and Scotland. Session 5 of the round robin. Close game, this one. As we head into end number 5. Alison Walker and Hans Fraunlob bringing you live commentary from the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton in Canada. Great to have you with us. I hope you're enjoying the action. Great atmosphere inside here, Hans, isn't it?
It is Sunday night and a great weekend crowd and lots of buzz in the audience tonight. Part of this event, the event organizers are honoring former curling champions that have competed and won in this venue. Saw David Netto in here earlier tonight and his wife Heather.
Yeah, hotbed of curling superstars from this part of the world.
Very nice stone there. Fully buried. So an important shot early in the end here for Kosuke Morozumi. Wants to try to lock one right on top of that Scottish stone.
Just as that one settles, we'll head over to sheet B, have a look at Canada, Sweden. Fourth end now, 2-2.
Looks like Nicodine and his team did a great job of getting one of their stones behind cover, so this looks like a draw for 2.
Let's see what he's facing. All will be revealed very shortly.
Just needs full 8 foot. And it comes to rest right on the lid. So
Off they go into the lead again.
Well,
4-2
King-
over Canada.
Yeah.
Interesting.
King Nicholas takes the lead. So we did see a nice job there for Kosuke Morozumi with that freeze, and Scotland tries to follow it down, but just a fraction heavy. And there we see the Japanese fans. Fans from all over the world here at the World Men's Curling Championship.
Lots of signatures there. I wonder what all that means.
Lots of good wishes.
Yeah, I'm sure if you're watching from Japan, you'll have made that out okay. Good to have you with us.
Tsuyoshi Yamaguchi would love a little inside flop if they can get it, but not really moving yet.
Oh, there's nothing, absolutely stuck. And very gettable.
It is, but the angles aren't bad for Japan. Let's take a look at another game here. Norway leading the Netherlands 5-0, and final stone coming at you here from Jaap van Dorp.
Really could do with something happening for them in this end. 5-0 down the Netherlands. This looks like a bit of a struggle here.
Well, they just need
No.
full 12 foot and safely into the 4 foot. So nice confidence builder there for Team Holland.
Hang in there. 4-4, 5-1. And China-Russia, 2-2 in this.
Both of these teams looking to get their first win on the board, and last rock coming at you from Lu Ray. Olympic medalist.
只是力量，下路可以，可以下一点也行，下路可以没问题。好，好，保持力量，可以。
小心。Hard. Hard, 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 hard.
They're all out trying to get this one in.
Big sweep there from the Chinese front end, but
Already one red, one there.
pays off.
4-2 to China after 4. Back to our feature game, Japan and Scotland. All square here in the 5th end.
This is shaping up as a very interesting end. Scotland's got the hammer, but there's a bit of a party building here in the 4 foot circle. Interesting. Well, the angles are really good for Scotland now. This is starting to look like a mixed doubles game. Stones all clustered in. See that center guard affording protection for about 3 of those stones, but decision for now for David Murdoch. He can get to the nose of that Japanese stone. We can see there the stone colors. The yellow stones belong to Scotland. If he got just inside nose, he'd have to squeak the draw to do it. Let's listen.
Skip and sit. I mean, even if you sit there, what's that? I mean, that's not terrible. Then we're going to have this at any point.
Yeah. Okay. Like, just a draw though.
So he could have played some weight, but he's electing just to play T-line weight and nudge that red stone just to go across the nose of it, push it into the back of the 4 foot and sit his own on the center line. If he can make this shot, then you would have to say that the 3 is definitely on for Scotland.
It's tricky though.
It is a delicate shot. It's got some risk.
Oh, guys.
Wrist
Oh, guys.
close. Here high. Here
Oh,
high.
Mikey. Just the
Mike,
3.
just
Top
Mike.
8. Can go if you need to. Hard. Hard, the line's good. Hard.
Oh,
Get in
perfect,
here.
Mikey, come on.
Hard.
Lock in
Get
there.
in here.
Hard, Mike.
Hard.
Go,
Keep
Mikey,
going.
go, go, go,
Keep
go, go.
going. Keep going. Hard.
Well, probably not exactly what they were looking
No.
for, but the angles are so good for Scotland, it's not in a bad place.
Heavy sweeping there from Mike Goodfellow.
And a real dilemma now for Yusuke Morozumi. None of the angles are good. You can't really run that red rock of your own onto the Scottish rock, but, well, he said bumper, so this is
Gonna
what
go
he's going
for
to
it.
play. This is certainly going to jam, but what he will do is unlock that stone at the back. So this is more of a setup shot.
That's good. Papa. Shot that. Hey. Papa. Whoa. Chip. Whoa. Papa. Okay. Yes.
Well, that's a pretty good result for Japan. They would have loved that one. Oh, it did spin back, so it's on the rings. Not really going to be a factor at the back of the house, though.
Yeah, all the action is in the middle.
So Scotland still lies 1, but Japan has just made it much more difficult to get a second one in there.
Even if you single peel it, it's not a disaster.
Yeah. I think so. Just gotta watch you don't skin this on here. We don't get rid of this.
What do you get the outside bread? The outside bread, that yellow jams there. That yellow spins through. Sorry, the red spins through your line. Behind that red.
Actually, like, it's almost like this.
The one that just played, yeah.
Looking at the angles, thinking about the run back.
That's almost a shot. Yeah. And if you're here wide, we get this. But if we just play for this and we're here high and get it that way, that's better.
Mike was wondering about the red straight onto the side of this red.
That's decent, but I mean you can get that pretty wrong.
Once if you play that straight away.
Eh?
Once if you play that straight off.
Ooh.
You're never. That's never going anywhere. That's you're doing.
How much have we got?
I got.
We've got 3 quarters.
Oh, that's a better shot.
Like that?
I like that.
I don't mind it.
Yeah.
I think it's a good call.
So like,
Yeah, you're almost hitting it as thin as you can.
oh no.
No,
As thin as you can.
Catching half.
Half her up.
Like
Half her
it.
up.
Just so you,
Half,
just so you
stick half.
stick this
I
one.
know,
like
but we need.
half,
Oh, this is sticking anyway. You need power to get this.
right? Yeah.
So the players have done a wonderful job of explaining the options, and they've settled on
Good communication again.
I had that
Yeah.
barrier weight and I was a bit into out with it, but
everybody's invested and everybody has a stake in the outcome. So at a critical time like this in the game where you've got a chance to maybe cash a 2 or a 3, worthwhile talking through the options. And so they seem to have settled on hitting half of this red stone.
Heel! Yep!
How's this line here?
Squirts the yellow stone up to the top of the house and gets great separation. So that's a very good result for Scotland.
Dave Murdoch was quite happy there with the outcome from Greg.
Good call, Mike.
Saw that bounce stone actually slide forward, so it does create an angle here for Japan to try and double take it. But watch the action. Watch the raised stone come forward in the house up to the front of the 12-foot circle. And Scotland lies too. Here's a great look at it from the overhead. Stone changes direction and goes north instead of south.
So the Japan response. Getting rid of that. Yeah, can they get rid of the other one?
Just gentle tap. That makes it interesting. They've got a bit of cover, but I think it will be available to the Scots. Dave Murdoch certainly wasting no time putting his brush down, and here's Tetsuro Shimizu. Yeah, got a little thin, and they were a little bit wide there. The play took them wide, and the weight did seem a little bit down, so they might have gotten into the fresher ice and taken some of the momentum off. Play now in number 5 in Scotland with the hammer. We're all tied up at 3.
Pack! Whoa, solid pack! Whoa, let's
So a
go.
different type of shot
Go,
asked
push.
for by Murdoch of Greg Drummond here.
Yep! Whoa! Whoa!
Yep, after the big weight peel, it's just a delicate down weight hit. Have they hung around? Well, they use that back one for backing, so it's a bit of a bonus for Team Scotland, and they lie too, and it's kind of jammed, really, if they try the double takeout. Shimizu saying, let's just hit and roll behind cover, and Yasuki says, nah, let's go right across the house and towards the other one. It's basically the same path, so it's really just a question of the weight that he wants to throw. The difference being if you're trying the roll behind the center guard, you're probably going to play a down weight of some kind, maybe board. And if you're trying to go cross house all the way to the one in the back 12 foot, you're probably going to have to throw normal up, almost peel to make that. Judging by the ice, that's certainly not going to be peel weight, so they might be trying the flop behind the center guard. Shimizu holding the target. Well, Murdoch and Drummond look on. It is down weight for Yusuke Morozumi. Well, no inside roll despite the down weight. Actually flops into the open. And let's take a look at China versus Russia. Saw
What'd she ate?
yeah, saw the deuce from the Chinese on the last end, but what can Alexei Stokalski do with his last rock?
He doesn't want to fall behind anymore. Got to keep in this game in the fourth end, the fifth end. Everybody's giving a helping hand. It's okay, it's in there. He already has one there, and he's leveled things up. 4-4 after 5. They head into the break. Refresh and re-energize for part 2. We're still in the fifth here in our feature game. Couple of stones to go.
Jams at the back, but just held the line enough where it sprung off the ring. So nice break there for Team Scotland. That would have taken them out of the deuce, but now they're in great shape. Heard Yusuke say hack weight. Just going to need to squeeze it by the center guard. Hoping for just a tiny inside roll to get cover. Well by the guard. No inside roll, however, so very available for David Murdoch. And there's a statistic in curling called hammer efficiency. That's how often you score 2 with the hammer, and Scotland with a chance to pop their second deuce of the game on the board right now.
Yeah, and that yellow one there. Important stone for Scotland, lingering on the outside.
Great shot from the hack end. This is what David Murdoch would see when he's climbing into the hack. And center guard there, but target stones fully available.
So, last end of the fifth. This to take Scotland back into the lead. Going into the break.
Maybe a little bit up here. The sweepers are going nowhere near it. They're looking for board weight, but it might be a little fraction up, but looks okay. Right on the nose. Great shot there from David Murdoch. And
yep, gets the 2. 2 yellows, 2 counting yellows for Scotland. Takes them back into the lead as they head into the break. Re-energize, refresh, have a chat to the coach. Good first half, actually, for both teams after 5. Japan 3, Scotland 5.
our feature game, Japan versus Scotland in the second end. 1 stone to come, and lots of granite up the front for Japan's Yusuke Morozumi, trying a very difficult down weight raise across the face. Bumps the Scottish stone at the back of the 8-foot, and a fantastic shot for a big deuce for Team Japan in the third end. Final stone to come here for Scotland's David Murdoch. Just needs full 8 foot. Sweepers do a nice job bringing it in there, and Scotland answers the deuce with a deuce of their own. In end number 4. Yosuke Morozumi being forced to take one, looking at 2 Scottish stones. Nice control weight there from Morozumi, but Japan forced to take a single point. And after 5 ends of play, Scotland is on top, 5-3.
Norway against the Netherlands, 5th end, last stone. With that commanding lead, 5-1. A difficult first half for Team Netherlands.
Stefan Wallstedt facing 2. This one might be over curling. Oh my goodness, he's life and death even to catch the second one. Almost went through the hole, but it's a steal of 1 for the Netherlands.
So could that be the turning point as they head into the break?
Disappointment there for Team Norway.
And there's the latest in the other games. China 4, Russia 4, 6th end. Canada, Sweden, it's 4-2 to Sweden, 6th end. As we've just seen on sheet C, 5-2 Norway over the Netherlands.
Right, boys, minute to go. Okay, boys. Good strong second. Yep. Thank you. Keep it going, man. Smart shot, okay? Have fun. We did do this.
Coach Tetley's final words. Smart shots. Have fun.
Percentages, hands after that first half, and no stolen points, and we know the score. And Scotland up in a lot of areas there.
Yeah, they're very comprehensively out-curling Team Japan so far in this contest. They've looked the more composed of the 2 teams. It's been a bit scrappy for the Japanese, but they've hung in there. They've got the hammer again now on end number 6, but Scotland is calmly setting ends up, executing well, getting ends set up really well. I think in the front end in particular, they're getting the ends tilted in their favor, so this will be an important 6th end now for Team Japan.
A couple of Scotland fans there. Look at that. It's a great look, isn't it?
Okay.
The orange hair.
Let's
red
see that.
hair.
Okay, perfect. No,
Looks
back
great.
up over the eyes.
That would suit you, Hans.
Yes, inside me there's a Scottish ginger waiting to burst out.
I know people like that.
Well, you know what? I do come by it honestly. This may surprise you. On my mother's side of the family, they migrated to New Zealand in the late 1800s from the Isle of Skye. So from the Clan MacLeod,
Yeah.
the Isle of Skye way back in my lineage.
It's the same,
Hasn't reflected in my hair color or my accent, however.
same in Canada. They're all Scottish, basically. So.
I'm going to say something terribly rude to my Scottish fans, but only Scots would travel all the way around the world to find a climate worse than theirs.
Yeah, I've got no comeback from that. Lots of other great things come out of Scotland, including Team Murdoch, so there we go.
And the great sport of curling. So the world has a lot to be thankful to the Scots for.
Right, so what's your prediction for part 2?
Well, it's. I think the interesting thing is going to be how patient Team Japan can be. We talked about their natural aggression And now they're trailing by 2. And so the test for them will be not over-committing. A deuce here, they're in great shape, hammer in the even ends. They don't have to press too much to try and make something
They
happen.
still have time. They still have enough ends.
They do, but they are trailing. It is important that they generate a pair here. But sometimes in the name of generating a pair, you get over-aggressive and trying to generate a 3, and all of a sudden it's a steal, and you're out of the game. So a very important end here for the Japanese, and we can see now, we talked about the aggression. Kosuke Morozumi being asked to freeze to the stone on the button, so this is an example of exactly what I was just talking about.
He's also only 70% for this game, and Goodfellow is 95.
Yeah.
So that maybe tells its own story too.
Kosuke's had a problem with draws over curling, but this one is under curling. If anything, they would like it to curl a little bit more, but it sits in the open in the 8-foot. So his brother Yusuke trying to make something happen.
Yeah, either peel the guard or try and get inside nose.
That's tough.
Yeah, I can get there with my stone.
That is tough, Dave. You can tell that in his heart he really wants to make a play on that red one, but he knows it's dangerous.
Let's make a call.
Doesn't need to do that at this stage, does he?
No, he
Not
doesn't. He doesn't. He's got a 2-point lead. Doesn't want to give up the deuce, but this is the safe play. Corner guard, potentially dangerous.
Scott playing well, 90% for the game.
Might get a little action on the center guard, not quite. The reason that Dave wanted to make a play on that red is he knows that's a dangerous rock that the Japanese will certainly use later in the end.
Yamaguchi, not brilliant from him either, 68% for this game.
It's a great patience here being shown by Team Japan. Interesting call here. Electing another corner guard, but a little bit tighter to the center line, so obviously an intention to use it, and Murdoch straight away says, I know what you're up to, Yusuke.
So that won't be there for long.
Stones being closer together, there's a higher chance of action here, and yes, he just does nudge that stone further forward in the house. Tightens things up a little bit, and importantly for Scotland, no guards now. So, Mr. Morozumi, do you try it one more time? Thinking about it.
Yeah, he is. He's having a good look.
He's electing now to play backline weight, so he's going to make a play on his red and just try to push it back deeper in the house. Leave his own sitting there
Just
in the 12-foot to use.
And just make it even more problematic for Scotland.
Just trying to accumulate rocks. They've got the hammer. So he's still certainly thinking 2 or 3. Weight of the stone is really coming down. They're trying backline weight, but it got into that fresher ice, and it might only be back 8 foot. So 2 Japanese stones in the rings now, but Scotland still lying shot.
I can give you either. Probably the end turn tight, I think. I don't mind. I don't mind.
Great chance here for the Scots to eliminate both Japanese
This might
stones.
curl a touch, but not going to go bend. No, throw good.
See what Greg Drummond can do. He's been playing well, 83%. Scottish third.
Big weight.
Targeting these two reds.
Nicely done.
Gets them both. Loses one yellow. But would take that. Nice shot.
Nice shot indeed. You're allowed to smile, Greg. That was a pretty good one.
He enjoys doing those ones.
No, full focus, yeah. Loves the big weight shots. Watch the granite fly. So Japan again trying to force something here. Asking Tetsuro Shimizu to try that freeze again.
Yep.
Haven't quite welded one. They've tried this shot a lot of times in this context, but never have quite locked one on.
This one's looking quite good.
That's a good one. It's a much more difficult deal.
It's like 4 inches.
So it's all about that gap in there.
Or I don't want to give up a cheap 2 by playing this.
Does the red go? Oh yeah.
Here's a 4-inch gap. Does the red go? Oh yeah. So that means he's got huge confidence in Drummond's ability to throw a heater. Just pick the edge of that red one, and even though it's certainly going to jam on the one behind it, have enough momentum to pop it out of the house sideways. So very matter of fact, is it going to go? Oh yeah, all day. There's a huge gap there.
Yeah, just like that. Right, he's certainly capable of making it, Greg Drummond. On his day. There we go.
Is it going to
But
go?
it's-
Oh yeah, not quite. I thought that was pretty brave. There was certainly a gap, and it did squirt sideways, but now is an opportunity for the Japanese. Here we see the Russian trying to keep it. They had to hit it thin as possible. Did so with a lot of weight, but they just popped the Japanese stone to the edge of the 12-foot, and importantly, they're also in shot rock position. So if Tetsuro Shimizu can sink one around that center stone on the top of the 12-foot, Japan might have their deuce in waiting. And this one is hanging out there, though. It's well clear of the guard. The sweepers are backing right off it.
It's going to go all the way, I think. Too far.
Certainly deeper than the Japanese would have liked, but it is second shot. But fortunately now it's created an angle where Murdoch can play a double at it. Not an easy shot. There's a lot of distance between these two stones.
I know, that's the only thing.
You could just kill the end by freezing that.
Yeah.
Like if you come off that, you might not get that out.
No, I know, I'm just thinking that.
The only thing.
Okay, that's it.
Okay. Half a rock.
Briefly discussed the freeze on the back stone, but I think David always wanted to throw the hit. Need to hit
Like this?
between a third and a half of this stone to make the double. Be equally happy
Make the double, no, you just
Yeah,
let it-
oh yeah.
just to roll in front of the other
Well,
stone.
let's go for it then.
I'll just get more.
Playing well, Dave Murdoch. Good stats.
98% to the game so far. It's hard to do much better than that. Hits it thick, but he's got a great looking roll sitting right in front of that Japanese stone at the back of the 8-foot. Great stone there from David Murdoch.
Yep, beautifully done.
In the crowd with an
Textbook stuff.
appreciative ovation. Let's take a look now at this top of the table match between Sweden and Canada.
And it's
Looks like there's a Canadian stone in the button, so this looks like a draw for 2 here for Brad Gushu.
Nicholas Sedin just played a brilliant shot just before. To lie one.
Need a piece of the 4-foot to score their 2s, and the crowd will tell you.
on its way. And you can hear the roar of appreciation. They loved that. 4-4. He's enjoying being on the TV too. 4-4 after 6. Players trying to focus here just on their game. Featured match.
And this is the other team that's at the top of the table, Team Japan. They're on 2-0, but that record's in danger right now. Here is Yusuke Morozumi. They've got the hammer here in the 6th, but after that fantastic hit and roll by Dave Murdoch, Yusuke Morozumi trying to lock one of his own right on top of those two. Tough shot. And because of the crowd noise now, the Japanese resorting to hand signals to communicate the weight. This one's got a lot of curling to do. Goes by the Scottish stone and past it. That's a bit of a disaster for the Japanese.
Crowd still buzzing after that shot from Gushu. This is where players really do have to maintain their concentration, particularly at this stage in the end.
We've talked about Team Scotland being just that bit better than at every position than the Japanese tonight, and this is an excellent opportunity for David Murdoch. If he can come around that stone in the top of the 12-foot, 3/4 bury, or in the top of the 4-foot, it makes life incredibly difficult for Morozumi on the last.
He's been playing well too, so confidence will be good. Scots have got their tails up a little bit here.
Yeah, this situation really couldn't be better for Scotland to try and generate a steal.
Line's good. Line's good. Top 4. Line's good. Well tight.
Sweepers like the weight.
Yep. Hard, mate. Hard line. Hard, mate. Hard, mate. Gotta go line. Hard.
This one's really starting to move, however.
Hard line. Push. Hard line.
He's going to catch this guard here.
Yeah, just fooled him a little bit. Sweepers thought the weight was a bit more than they had, and they thought they had lots of room, but still not a bad result. But David Murdoch would have loved that one to be in the 4-foot.
Still not easy for Japan here.
It's not, and Shimizu and Morozumi, after briefly looking at things, and we can see on our overhead, Yellow Rocks belong to Scotland. Scotland shot there at the back of the 4-foot. Japan briefly thinking, can we still manufacture a deuce out of this somehow? But after thinking about it, there was just no way.
No way?
No, you could try to double the yellow across the stone that's in the top 8-foot. You can maybe double it across the yellow, but huge risk there of jamming it straight back and giving up a steal of 2. So
make sure if you're
not really worth the risk.
Not even Japan, Team Japan
Not
would
even
do
Team
that.
Japan, because, well, even if you make that, chances are your shooter rolls across the 12-foot, you may not score the 2 anyways. But this is no gimme for Yusuke Morozumi. He needs the 4-foot, and he's got to get around that center guard in the process, so big shot here. Sweepers are really working it.
They've been up against it in this end.
No, I don't know. This is coming mighty close to that center guard. Are they by? I think they're light.
They are light.
That one comes up well short, top of the 12-foot, so
How
it
many
is a
is that?
steal. Just confirming the score. It was certainly at least 1 to Scotland. We'll just wait for the confirmation. Disappointment for Yusuke Morozumi. He knows that was one he needed.
This could be the turning point in the game, this end.
I prefer to be top 8 at that.
Look at the score now after 6.
Scotland 6, Japan 3.
Just the one.
Oh.
Just going straight at boys. Yeah, you've got to make them work for it.
Yeah. Do you like to win, or you like just?
I think still do, otherwise we're getting up an easy 2.
Yeah.
In the universe that is distinctively curling, The stars have now aligned to deliver the world's ultimate showdown to the world's entertainment capital. Whether you're a storied veteran of events past or a future superfan anxious to attend your first, this is the one. The 2018 World Men's in Las Vegas with our most popular package, the 9-day, 10-night hit and stay for 2 people for just $20.29.
Las Vegas rocks.
So welcome back to our live coverage of the Ford World Men's Curling Championship 2017. Great action in this session, session 5 we're on to now of the round robin. 4 games going on the 4 sheets. And the crowd having some fantastic entertainment in this Northfields Coliseum.
Top bound.
This is our featured game.
Almost on its own. Line's good.
On your left-hand side, it's
Top 4, top
Japan against Scotland.
five.
Scotland with a good 6-3 lead now.
Back 4 almost. Needs to stop.
And can afford, not exactly to take the foot off the gas, but can afford to keep things simple and safe, not too complicated.
Yep, they can take the foot off the gas a little bit, but they can just shift gears. Let's take a look at some of the other matches going on. We've got Norway leading the Netherlands 5-2 in the 6th end, and final stone to come here for Stefan Wallstedt. And we saw in the last end that had an opportunity to score 1 and over-curled and gave the Dutch a steal, but this is looking much more promising for Team Norway, and easy as you like, nose hit, and it's a big score of 3 for the Norwegians, and they take a commanding 8-2 lead.
Yeah, looking in great shape in that game for their next win. This is China-Russia on sheet A.
Two
Both
teams
looking for their first win,
Yeah,
Hans,
indeed.
and just the psychology of getting that first win, just such a major thing at the start of a competition.
Yeah, it starts as a bit of a monkey on your back, and as the week goes on, it starts to turn into a gorilla. So let's see what Lou Ray does here.
There's some yellows in there, counting, well, just the one. Well, there's one nibbling, but it is safely in there. But how many? Just the one for China, 5-4 after 6. Close one there. Here's the latest on all the games going on for you, whichever country or team you're following. We'll keep you updated.
We're listening to the teams between ends, and we heard the Scottish team discussing their tactics for end number 7, and they said 2 in, and that's exactly what they've done. 2 stones sitting there right in our picture there in the 4-foot. Japan, corner guard.
The other line I heard there, Hans, was make them work for their 2.
Yeah. And we can see an example of that right now. David Murdoch immediately looking to eliminate the corner guard. They don't want to give the Japanese any chance to accumulate stones behind cover. So early in end number 7, textbook. Draw in, corner guard, draw on top, rip the guard.
And if you're Japan,
Well, it's a patience game now. You do have your stone out there on the edge of the 12-foot. You're going to have to deal with these stones in the 4-foot eventually, but maybe not right now. Looking to put that protection back in front of their own stone on the edge of the 12-foot, thinking this is the way that they're going to generate their pair. Scott Andrews being asked to throw a peel. thickish peel, but enough momentum to carry that stone over to the side barrier. Not quite touching it, so it stays in play. Not exactly a corner guard that the Japanese can go around, however, but
No, if you were doing that, that would be interesting to watch.
you'd be drawing onto sheet C to use that stone.
Japan need to conjure something up in this end to give themselves a chance.
They know they're in tough. They'll have played David Murdoch a number of times in different tournaments over the years, and they know he's a very difficult man to catch when he's got a lead. So they have to grind their way through this little game and do whatever they can to manufacture a pair.
And that's not exactly going to help
No, it's a bit
their
deep.
cause.
It's a great chance here for the Scots to run the double. Well, he runs the double, but not the double he was looking for. Kills one Japanese stone, but also kills one of his own and opens up the rock on the back of the button. So a little half miscue there from the Scots. Trying to double, but he goes across the top of the second Japanese stone and spills into his own. So can Tetsuro Shimizu capitalize on this smallish opportunity? Get the sense that this Japanese team is just looking for a spark to lift them and get them going in this game. And
Yeah, they've kind of lost that little bit of impetus and energy and imagination that they had early on, haven't they?
Yep, they made a great shot in the second end out of nowhere to generate a two, and since then it's really been a struggle. And again, Shimizu slightly over curls and leaves a gap. So another opportunity, not quite lost, but certainly not as well executed as Yosuke Morozumi would have liked.
A little wry smile there from the skip.
Come on, guys, give me something. Need something to work with here. Now Greg Drummond, we've seen how he can throw the big weight, and even though this is flattish, good opportunity now to reposition the stones in the Scots' favor. Just off the nose, so leaves the stone in an interesting place for both Scotland and for Japan. Some interesting angles there. Could be something the Japanese could use to hit and roll off, or it could be something that the Scots themselves could use to jump off. This might be the time where you think about calling a timeout. You've got some options here to talk about. Lots of time available to both teams. They've got 38 minutes of thinking time, so no need to rush this. Tetsuro doesn't want to jump in the hack and throw bumper weight just yet. I think he wants to keep stones in play. Well, Yosuke's insistent. So Tetsuro's going to climb into the hack and throw the bumper weight after all. Making a play on the red, looking to hit half of it and get some separation. Sweepers are really working this one hard, flirting with the guard, feathers the guard. Boy, lucky break there for Team Japan. It redirects. Japan lies too, but boy, that was almost disaster for Japan.
Just as well it caught that one there.
Sweepers held it, and Shimizu knows it. Net result, Japan lies 2. Possible sideways double here for Murdoch.
Does he need to go for that?
Well, you probably have to move that other Japanese rock if you can, but you don't want to overthrow this and blitz it right through the hole. Safety first, make sure you eliminate one rock anyways.
And one game is finished in the arena, and it's another good victory for Norway, 9-2 over the Netherlands. And Netherlands still without a win. Debut boys, but Norway march on, looking in good shape.
It's a big weight there from Dave Murdoch, but pretty much noses it. Japanese stone looking pretty lonely in the rings all of a sudden. Lots of yellow stones belonging to Scotland.
Three Scottish yellows on Japan.
And the challenge for the Japanese is you don't really have a lot of great places to leave your shot rock. If you nose that stone where they've got the brush, there's a steepish but pretty short double to make for Murdoch. If you play anything else, you run the risk of Murdoch just hitting the open Japanese stone and maybe lying to and forcing you that way. So what they're discussing is, where do we want to leave ours? They could roll a little bit to the outside and still sit second shot. Appeared to be settling on board weight.
Hasn't been too much discussion in these games. Under the bench agrees with that decision.
Both teams still have their timeouts in their pocket if they wanted to call their coaches onto the ice, but after some discussions, they've all settled on a shot.
Up against it, Japan team now on this end.
We talked about them scrapping, doing everything they can to generate the deuce, and this is the key shot. Wanting to be on the outside. That's about all you could do. You have left Murdoch a double, but you really didn't have much of an option but to do that. And now if you're Team Japan, you can just hold your breath and hope.
Was there another option here?
There weren't too many good ones. You could have gotten really aggressive and tried to freeze directly in front of the Scottish stone and hope that Murdoch would roll out if he played his own, but there weren't many great options. This was the most sensible to try and generate the deuce, but they knew that they're going to leave a double.
Yep.
And you just have to hope he doesn't make it.
Well, let's see if he can.
It's looking pretty good. There's one, there's two.
Yep, nicely done to lie 3 for Scotland. 3 yellows. Definitely with their tails in the air, the Scots team.
A potential dagger in the heart of the Japanese. Look at this on the replay. Absolutely perfect from David Murdoch.
1-2.
So after all of that, Japan playing the whole end to try and scrap out a deuce. All of a sudden, last stone for Yosuke Morozumi has to hit and stick against 3.
That was the Scottish strategy. Make them work for it, and they not even working for 2, working for 1, and they make sure of that.
Safely on the nose for the Japanese, but certainly not the result they wanted. It's 1 on the board, but after 7 ends of play, Scotland with the hammer and a 6-4 lead.
10秒ぐらいがバンパーに見える。今10秒。とりあえずちょっとこんなにするか。
They're probably going double.
Oh yeah.
So they're going double.
The first one's tight.
Yeah. Small. Small for goal, I think the first one inside.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. That's a goal.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Come on, boys. Let's do this.
Welcome back to our live coverage at the Ford World Men's Curling Championship 2017. This is our featured game. Japan against Scotland, and Scotland with a 6-4 lead. And in a great position to see this game out. Japan with it all to do, running out of ends, running out of time. And Scotland restricting them in that last end.
Yeah, if you're a dedicated curling fan in Scotland, and I know there are no other kind, and you're up in the middle of the night to follow your team, it's looking like a pretty good day and a handy day for Team Scotland. Big win this afternoon against John Schuster in the USA, and firmly in control against unbeaten Japan. So Scotland on the verge of a very nice Sunday.
And if you're from Japan, don't give up yet, because this game can turn on its head sometimes, as we know.
Japan does have the hammer now in the even ends coming home, so we're playing end number 8.
Easy.
So,
Different strategies now, though, for both teams' hands.
well, very much so. You know, so Scotland rather with the hammer, and so Japan really looking to do whatever they can to generate the steal, and a great tick shot there from my good fellow, dealing to that center guard.
Remember, they can move them about, these early stones, but not remove them. Comparison of the leads, huge difference between the two.
Yeah, my good fellow having a very nice game at lead. Setting the table for David Murdoch. There's Kazuki Morozumi. Just looking to replace that center guard. Just creeps across the center line. Actually makes it a little bit tougher for the Scots to play the tick, but
12.5 だったらダメだ。
Still going for it.
yeah, it's come across the face.
Weight's good. Weight's good, a little heavy.
Yep.
Keep off that center line.
Yep.
Weight's still good.
Yep. Hard, Greg.
Weight's really good.
Come on, gotta go, gotta
Good
go,
for
gotta
half.
go. Hard.
Hard, Greg.
Creeps by and quietish weight, so just through the ring's weight. So great tick attempt on the great tick made on the first stone. Not quite on the second stone. So chance here for the Japanese.
I think the positioning put him off slightly beside that yellow. Over to the big one on sheet B, certainly for the home crowd. Canada against Sweden. 4-4, 7th end. Nicholas Edin, here he goes. That very low delivery posture from Edin.
Facing two.
Yep, no problem there. Gets the one to take Sweden into that narrow lead. 5-4 after 7.
Really a bit of a moral victory for Brad Gushu's Canadian team, however. Great force. So now that the free guard zone part of the end is over, it's bombs away for Team Scotland. One, two. Spins it away, so nice result there for Scotland. Doing whatever they can to keep the scoring area open.
Person of the seconds, and again, Scott Andrews way ahead of Yamaguchi.
Here is Tsuyoshi Yamaguchi.
They've got to keep plugging away Team Japan.
They do, but after an opening round loss to the Norwegians, Team Scotland seems to be building in confidence. They're going about their business, and we heard Coach Ian Tetley at the fifth end break. Smart shots, they're playing high percentage shots, and they're executing really well, and that's usually a winning combination.
Yeah, communication has been good. We saw that in the decision earlier on with Mike Goodfellow, and the team listening to each other, talking. We're so important in curling.
That's absolutely right, Allison. A little action there on the corner guard.
Red one.
Would have been a bit of a bonus to creep it onto the rings, but really not a lot of danger there for Team Scotland. Scotland at this point in the game, with the scoreboard reading as it is, they're just looking to score. Happily would take 1 point. Just want to avoid a Japanese steal.
And Japan also hoping for a Scotland error, Scotland wayward shot, a Scotland mistake, just to give them a little opening.
Yeah, there really haven't been many. The odd half shot here and there, you know, a missed tick, which is a really low percentage shot in the first place. There have not been very many errors from this Scottish team today.
That's not the worst case.
Dave Murdoch saying, I got all this house to use and all these guards to go around. I'd really like to.
The top one is not terrible. The only thing, you might end up just doing this, but
Still not bad though.
See Greg Drummond preparing at the hack end, and great shot from the overhead after a bit of discussion. Discretion's the better part of valor, and electing to play the front guard.
Just nice peel.
yep.
Trying to rattle them around and maybe get some action.
Just the one. Disturbed.
Good stone. Just a patient game here from Scotland. On the other hand, Japan will keep throwing up these center guards as long as they can, and stack the two center guards and get good separation. And again, Greg Drummond with a slight edge at the third position. Maybe not as dominant as his front end over Katsuro Shimizu, but still with an edge. Stone losing its handle a little bit as it comes to rest, but Sits on that center line. Good separation again. Nice shot. It's a bit of a game of cat and mouse now.
Oh, yeah, I don't mind then. Down here.
Oh.
Yep, yep.
At some point.
How long's that guard?
Eh?
Is it halfway? Yeah.
Oh no, it's
It's a one.
one. It's more a
Right.
one. Okay. If I can roll into the rings, it's good.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Even if you have to. Yeah.
So now Team Scotland saying, okay, that center guard is long enough that we can actually make a play on
Not
this
sure
one
you
at the
can
top of
get
the house.
I think you're struggling. Okay.
Too long?
Well, not a problem with the long center guard, but what they're debating is whether they can hit the second guard and roll onto the rings.
Eh?
They're happy to make a play on it, but only if they're shot.
Worst case,
Yeah.
just roll out.
Yeah.
Worst case, roll
I
out.
think it needs to be barrier. I think so.
By worst case roll out, they'll play aggressively for a long roll to try and get in the rings. They just don't want to stuff it right on the nose and give the Japanese something else to go behind.
Here, solid.
Here we go.
Yep. Yep.
Solid.
Come on, gotta go. Hard. Hard.
Looking for a roll, but this one's curling close to nose. Definitely not going to roll onto the rings, so not really a mistake, but another guard that the Scots didn't really want to have.
Certainly cuddled in.
They weren't too worried about the outcome there.
No, they knew that Japanese stone at the top of the 12-foot was always going to be a dangerous one, so
And that's gone.
yeah, that center guard is so long that they're confident that there's lots of room to maneuver on their last if they need to. But because that center guard is so long, Yosuke has to really throw this one top house. He can't really go for the 4-foot now because there'd be tons of room for Murdoch just to follow him. So trying to position this top house and stack the guards really and try to have a come around for his last one. Good looking line. Comes to rest on the 12-foot. Nice stone there by Morozumi. Squarely behind the guard.
2 skips, 91% to 77.
So at every playing position, Scotland holding an advantage, and at 3 of the playing positions, quite a clear one.
Like Greg was a hair firm with his barrier there, so. No, I like the shot.
Oh, I don't know when I see it.
What would you like?
Let's pray edge for edge.
That guard's so long, Dave, though.
David doesn't like it quite as much at the hack end as he did down in the house.
Get out.
Welcome back to that long guard thing.
Worst case, you can call time if you want to see what take things.
That's good. Let's play it.
Go ahead, go for it. Why not?
I think he thought as he was going down the ice, he'd be able to see at least half of it. But when he got down to the hack end, he can maybe see a sliver. And he goes, oh, not as much as I thought.
Yeah, certainly not half.
Wait's good.
So let's see what he can come up with here.
Wait's good. Whoa. Solid attack. Solid attack.
Scott, you go.
Through this port between. There we go. Safely through. Just that one, and it's away. Away it goes.
And he saves the shooter.
Really nice weight. Really nice weight.
Never a problem. Right, let's head over to sheet 8. China against Russia. 5-all. Close game, 8th end.
See one Chinese stone on the button and a Russian stone in front of it. So let's see what Liu Ray can conjure up on his last one.
Take them into the lead here. Sweepers working hard to get it in here. Look for the red stones and the yellow stones.
Oh, through a tight port, picks it out. Look at that, 4.
Lovely shot from Louis Ray. And what a total that is for him. He must be delighted with that. It's a score of 4. Yep, for Team China. Super lead for them now, 9-5 after 8. What a turning point for them.
Wow, great shot.
Under pressure as well. Good stuff.
And speaking of pressure, welcome back to Team Japan's situation. You're down 2, your opponent's got the hammer. They've got a stone on the edge of the 12-foot. You've got one to come. What do you do? You know you need to steal the end, or at least force Scotland to take one, but you really do need the steal, so looks to me like they're gonna make a play on this Scottish rock and try to roll behind cover. And you see the Japanese bench looking on.
I know their team is up against it here.
Really needing an inside roll, but the sweepers aren't really touching it. It just beaks wide open for Scotland.
Yep, that wasn't what was needed.
No, definitely not plan A. So the luxury of a choice here for David Murdoch. Some people would say, okay, well, you started the end wanting to score. You could just beak it, take your 1. Go 3 up playing 9. Force Japan to take 1, or even give them 2 and 9, and then come home with the hammer 1 up. Other folks would say, well, you got the hammer, you're 2 up. Just blank. Take the hammer into 9. Let's see what he does.
What would you do, Hans?
Well, either is good. The only bad result here is a flash, so.
Yep. It's master of the 8th. Certainly heading for that red Japanese stone. Everything goes, so it is the blank. Scotland. So the score stays the same.
Good.
And Scotland very much in the driving seat in this game against Japan. They maintain their 6-4 lead after 8.
In the universe that is distinctively curling, the stars have now aligned to deliver the world's ultimate showdown to the world's entertainment capital. Whether you're a storied veteran of events past or a future superfan anxious to attend your first, this is the one. The 2018 World Men's in Las Vegas with our most popular package, the 9-day, 10-night hit and stay for 2 people for just $20.29.
Las Vegas rocks.
This is our featured game. Japan against Scotland. As you can see, the Scots 6-4 up. Noisy arena here. Team Canada in action on the nearby sheet.
See those little flashing green lights on the top of the stone. That's the hog line detector. Players must clearly release the stone by the time the stone reaches the hog line. Otherwise, it foul and it comes out of play.
It flashes red. When number 9.
Yeah, so this is the standard format if you're trying to somehow steal. Long guard first, short guard second in the free guard zone.
Let's quickly head over to sheet B, see what's happening in that Canada-Sweden game. Such a close game. Kushu with the final stone of the 8th end.
That's 4, guys. I thought it was there.
Weight's good.
Weight's good. Line's
Yep.
great.
And they're happy with it.
He's on line. Looks like it's heavy. He's good. Here down. Weight's good. It's not curling, guys. It's really tracking.
Hard!
Back 4.
One in there already, so that's for their 2. That's a 2 for Canada. It takes them into the lead for the first time, 6 of 5 after 8.
No, that's right, Allison. Psychologically important. The Canadians have never been in front in that game until now, so it'll be interesting to see how the Swedes respond to that. But back to our feature game, and Team Japan again, Scotland with a pretty decent little tick, moving the stone off the center line. So Kosuke Morozumi trying to stack another guard in there. Well, that's a little close to the other one, probably for their liking, but still free guard zone time, so.
Or we'll leave it.
They're lined up pretty good.
No.
I think he's going on the high side they're going, eh?
Get position.
Scotland just want to go for everything at the moment, don't they?
Well, what they're saying, and I agree with this, is that when your opponent is stacking guards in the free guard zone part, you're thinking about the opportunity to throw a double clear on second stones, and Scottish team recognizes that those two Japanese stones are right beside each other, so it's almost an automatic double clear. So an opportunity now to just kind of go around it, and then you can throw the double clear on your second shot. So Scotland know that a score in this end pretty much locks it away for themselves.
All there right now.
9-4.
Oh, not curling. Here we go. Come on, full 4, guys. Hard. 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 Hard.
Nice weight control there from Team Scotland. Japan now, of course, has to ignore that stone. They're still trying to build some defense to use late in the end. So another guard being requested from Tsuyoshi Yamaguchi. Trying to guard the guard. This one not curling quite as much as they'd like. Does come into the 12-foot behind the front stones, and now Team Scotland will make their play.
Nice peel.
Scott Andrews on this one like a hungry dog on a bone.
He was, wasn't he? He was just, couldn't wait to get at it. And there they go.
Scotland using all of the width of the ice. That one again close to the barrier, but stays in play. There we see very nice shot from our throwing end view. And there we see still in play. Has to be touching the barrier, but that one is mighty cozy to the barrier. But
half a millimeter, but it's still not touching.
But most importantly, from a Scottish point of view, nothing in front of the rings. Japan trying to put one there now. So the stones in the rings, a little bit of a concern, small concern for David Murdoch. He's going to try the double clear, run the red across the face of the other one and kill 2 of them. maybe even kill 3.
Let's see what the outcome is. 1-2.
Well, not quite the triple that he was looking for, but he'll take it. The reason he wasn't happy about that, because he does leave his own stone in the center. He was looking to be a little bit on the high side of that, but good result for Scotland.
Not a red stone in sight.
But that center guard is a pretty welcome sight for Team Japan, so they're going to try and use it now. Sweeper's working this one. They like the line. A little bit concerned about the weight, but it's pretty
around.
good.
Yeah, it's coming around now.
Might be too good and pop out
Yeah.
the other side a little bit, but not bad.
It has.
David Murdoch saying, regardless, this stone of our own is a bit of trouble. This is kind of a good news situation for the Scots, because if you nose it, you run it back. But if you peel it, you just open it up. So outside of a full-on miss, there's almost no way to completely miss this shot. That one does touch the barrier.
Right, over to Shite again. China, Russia. That key last end for China. And that big, big score now in the 9th. What can Russia do here to get back into this? Last stone looks like certainly one red in there, a couple of reds. Hits and sticks there for one. Got one shot, 9-6 after 9.
The Russians making a lineup change for this game, so Timofiev's moves to the skip position.
Like
Stokowski was skipping the earlier 2 games, but they've decided to make a change just to try and change it up and get something going.
They certainly run China a bit closer.
Well, that's right. Team Russia in their 2 prior games were off in 6 ends both times, so at least they're making the Chinese work a little bit harder tonight. Another clear from Team Scotland. So Japan with 1 stone and half in the 8-foot. They really need to steal this end, and they know that that's probably not going to be good enough. So it looks like Morozumi's going to try and come around that one to improve it. Maybe draw to the back of the 4-foot, looking for cover. A lot of discussion between the Japanese front end players and Yosuke Morozumi about the weight. Yeah, maybe they're thinking about changing the call. Maybe they're going to elect a guard now instead of a come around. Either choice is good. If you come around that stone in the 12 or in the 8-foot now, you know Dave Murdoch's just going to try and throw a big weight double. So what they're saying is, well, maybe the guard's a better shot, and they can play the shot in the rings, and maybe we can use the guard ourselves.
And the way Murdoch's playing, they probably know he would make that double anyway, so.
They do want this one pretty tight to the rings, however. So now a choice for David Murdoch. There is still a double there. If you're going to clear the front, you could try the run double and clear everything, but there is a bit of risk in that shot. That seems to be the shot he wants to play.
Kind of 3/4, eh? 3/4 will be contact.
The
Do
shot
that,
rock.
you nut it, and then
is available on the intern, so he could make a play at it.
Like, you can make this. Yep.
We were just talking
Don't
about
like
exactly
'cause
that.
That's a good guard.
Do you want to
Yes.
call time? Yeah. I don't mind calling time. See what that
All our options we have.
We've
always got a shot when you play this.
Yeah.
If you make that, the end's over. We've got something, eh?
Let's make it interesting. Where did you have the room?
Well, I think. What do you think? We're gonna get a lot of curl here.
I don't think I'll do a bunch of
No, I mean what we're needing, Greg. We're needing like 3/4, eh?
no thicker than 3
No thicker than.
Melt thinner's
error
good.
in the 2/3.
Yeah.
So after a lot of discussion, I think they're making the right call. They briefly talked about making a play on the stone in the rings, but realized that even if they make it, Japan's still probably going to go around that center guard. So they're going to try the double clear. Heard Dave Murdoch say we need to hit it 3/4.
Okay, Dave. Nice deal.
Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Blows it across the top of the stone in the 8-foot.
Yeah, not quite.
So a small opening for Japan, and now they're deciding now we're going to come around it. So interesting and good discussion and communications from both teams. Japan, after a bit of discussion, altered their shot call. They were going to come around on their first, but instead elected the guard. Good choice. Scotland, on the other hand, same story. They were looking at maybe playing it in the shot rock, but then decided to make a play on the guard. Again, correct choice. Small problem with the execution, but a good process from both teams to arrive at the decisions here late in the game.
But both making those decisions from very different standpoints.
Too right. It's do or die stuff for Team Japan now, and they know it. I'd love to have a bit of cover. They know they're going to go behind the tee line. It's a question of how far. Not bad, back 8 foot, so you're making Dave Murdoch look at 2. A lot of distance between them, so playing the double carries some risks. So from a Japanese point of view, you've done exactly what you were hoping to do at the beginning of the end. Make your opponent make a draw against 2.
And they really couldn't have done much more than that, Team Japan.
Yeah, they really fought tooth and nail through the entire end to try and set this situation up. So really good job of grinding curling here.
You're just like a nice 95 rather than the 3 seconds.
Yeah. Okay.
Just a bit of final feedback from the front end about the pace of the
As
ice.
soon as it starts to curl, this will start to sit down. Okay. So let's just.
So just a little, like what, 3-4 feet on than normal?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not that.
No, it's just like a nice 95 rather than a 3.
Great final feedback there from Scott Andrews.
So here we go. Final stone of this 9th end.
So we heard Scott say 95. The Scots used the tee line to hog line split time. So on the hog to hog clock, you'd be looking for something in the 14 range. There's a 13 and a 3, so that's got a bit of steam, but looks not too bad. And it comes to rest past the tee line, but safely into the 4 foot. So nice shot there from Team Scotland when they needed it.
Well played from Dave Murdoch. All that was required.
Fist bumps all around. And a
Yep.
bit of relief, I think, Allison.
After 9, Japan 4, Scotland 7. Scotland very much in control here. We're in the 10th end now of our featured game between Japan and Scotland. And if you're watching and you're a Scotland fan, well, it's going very well indeed for you. If you're from Japan and supporting Team Japan, not so good, not so good.
Let's take a quick look at a key shot coming up in another game going on between Canada and Sweden. Sweden's Nicodine facing a world of hurt here against Canada, trying to hit and roll into the 4-foot area to cut the Canadians down, but gee, it's a steal of 1 for sure for Canada, maybe a steal of 2. They're going to have a long look at this and possibly measure it, but it's definitely a steal of 1 for Canada. Probably a decisive point in the game, and we'll return to our feature match, but big moment in that match between Canada and Sweden. Canada firmly in control, and it looks like now confirmation that it is a second point.
Yep, that is a key end there. Previous one was to Canada turning the screw in that game against Sweden, running out of ends, and not surprisingly, Canadian crowd really enjoying that one.
And then we see confirmation. Canada 3 up coming home. Same situation as this match. David Murdoch 3 up coming home. Scotland throwing their first 2 stones through the rings deliberately. They have no interest at all at rocks in play. Japan, of course, they'll draw around a piece of lint on the ice now if they have to.
It is possible. We've seen it in many games before, but the way Scotland are playing, the odds are very much in their favour.
Often the key shot in these defensive ends is the second stone's first peel attempt, and there we see Scott Anders removes one of the Japanese stone, but leaves it lingering around in the corner, so not a mistake. But
another game is finished, Hans, and it's the China-Russia game, and Russia made a bit more stab at this one, but they still lose their 3rd game, and it's a good victory for China, their first victory, 9-6 for Louis Ray and his team. And key end there as well in end number 8, getting that 4.
Yeah, that was huge. Nice support from the Canadian crowd as well. They recognize that that was a well-played game between 2 teams looking for their first win, and they showed their appreciation. Nice touch.
It's just been an exchange here in our game of 1s and 2s. 1s and 2s at key moments. No big ends as such.
No, that's right. I mean, really the decisive moment in this match was that key steal in the 6th when Yusuke Morozumi had a draw to try and save the end. It just came up short, and it was a huge steal for Scotland. And that was the control point that they've carried all the way through.
Is it worth trying it?
So 3 guards, lots of separation. You know the Scots are going to hit one of them. It's a question, are you going to try to run them in?
Keeping all the play on this side of the sheet. Okay.
This is worth the shot, Scott. You throw it pretty straight down here.
Yeah. Aye.
Well, your way it won't do much. So it's like
Here we see a great shot. There's the angle. I'd love to run it towards the other red stone and maybe clear 2 of them.
They don't need to be too ambitious at this stage, though, do they?
No, you just safety first. Job 1, almost made it. Great try. Great try.
oh, it was made.
Scott said, "Come on, guys, give me a couple of brushes there. I could have made that." So still the faintest of pulses alive here for Team Japan. They must score 3 to tie this up and force an extra end. They're running out of bullets. 4 stones to come after this one. Once again, Murdoch eyeing up the crosshouse double possibilities. This time he needs to hit about a 1/3, I think. Same kind of weight. Greg Drummond into the starting blocks for this one. This won't be light.
Nice peel.
Yep. Fire!
Is this the key shot here, Hans?
Well, once again, just a bit conservative on the sweeping call, understandably. Maybe made, but the primary task was achieved. Got rid of the guard. So now,
Remember, no matter what Japan do here, we're running out of stones all the time.
absolutely right. So we talked about that yellow Scottish stone kind of lingering on the side of the sheet, and this is the moment that Tetsuro Shimizu is going to try to use it. Going to try and tuck one on the extreme wing on the edge of the 12-foot, get a bit of cover behind that yellow stone. Not much house to draw to here, and it's
How's it looking?
sliding deep. Got to hang around though. Good shot.
Enough to ask the question.
Yep. So again, Murdoch, you know he wants to run the red across the house, but now they're going to call a timeout. So Coach Ian Tetley has an opportunity to come onto the field of play, and they're going to talk this over. Thing is, if you play the red one, and we'll listen when Ian gets there, if you play the red cross house, the corner's still there. So if you run it across and you don't make it, then Shimizu throws the same shot again.
Here he is.
Yep, let's listen.
If you miss it, he goes here again. You're going to have a shot, and you're going to have at least a double. Even if you hit the ball.
Not against that.
Yeah.
Not against that.
And I think definitely his three becomes a lot tougher.
It does. Yeah. Like you go for the hack, you touch this onto that, you're in trouble. Just you don't make this, you're in trouble.
you ever click
that's a shot. Yeah. Yeah, that's why.
So why don't we hit that first?
Because we miss it.
Yep.
Half a rock.
Yeah, but
Because
he's
he's going to
give
get
you a double.
Almost
guard,
thin
guard.
Thin
Yeah.
half's pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Let's make it, Rick.
Ian Tetley, a career second, and so this is a kind of a clearing shot that would be common to him as an athlete. And he came out there and his input was, well, the danger shot is that corner guard, and they quickly arrived at the conclusion, we've got to make a play at that one.
Get rid of that.
There's some risk. They could stuff it onto the red one, but again, Greg Drummond will throw plenty of weight at this one.
Nice peel.
Whoa! Whoa!
Boys, you got contact at all? No. Oh my goodness. Got a bit lucky there, Scotland. Missed the clear, but picked out the Japanese stone at the back of the house.
Which could also have been potentially what he was trying to do as well.
That's a plan B, and sometimes you take them. Japan quickly into the starting blocks. Their time clock is running down a little bit. They've got 1:51 left on their clock, so 2 stones to come, but not a lot of extra time to them, so they play quickly.
So it's roughly back in the same position, Hans.
Yep, same shot for Tetsuro Shimizu, and makes that one actually in a much nicer place. Behind the guard.
Got more of it.
I think so too, yeah. You just got to watch it to see for this.
Yeah.
But maybe an
Back
element
line.
of doubt after that last stone of Drummond's that you throw it down that spot, maybe it's going to hit some fresh ice and run.
Yeah, it's got to be borderline 3 deep tall. Yep.
Just like down hack, eh?
I think so. I don't think you want to be any lighter than that
No.
line.
Only have an inch to it.
I know. I know. It's the thing, yeah.
But I think it will curl.
Oh, I mean,
Like-
It goes big there.
Yeah. Good.
Like Goodfellow, the voice of concern, said, you only got an inch of that one, Dave. But Murdoch says, yeah, I'll just throw down hack weight. Try to follow the same path that Shimizu just came down. He only has to push that stone about 1.5 feet to get it off the rings.
Right, wait.
Big shot here.
back line, eh? Like,
Back line.
back line, like 11, eh?
Okay. Like it.
Japan could ever get a miss here. Give them the chance for their 3, so big shot for Murdoch.
Anything can still happen.
goodness. Very fortunate for the Scots. They were sweeping it for the curl. Got some contact, pushed the Japanese stone. It looks visually just off the rings, but it's the kind of thing, if you're Team Japan, you're definitely going to measure.
Another game rather has finished. It's the Canada-Sweden game, and it is victory for Canada. Really that key end, the last one, the hammer blow. Another victory for them. They march on.
Yep, happy day for the home team. They move to 3-0. Nicodine falls to 2-1. But here, Yusuke Morozumi.
It's ended up being an interesting finish to this game. Well, if it is a finish.
Well, everything will depend on the stone on the edge of the 12-foot being measured and maybe being on the rings or not. An attempted split here for the Japanese to try and lie 3. But is it too much weight? I think he's pushed it through the rings. That's a disaster. And that, I believe, will be lights out for Team Japan.
It is unfortunate after that Scotland error. It was there for them, Hans.
It was there. The split was there. If he pushed that onto the rings, it would have been a very interesting finish, and just a little bit too much weight on the split attempt. And
difficult shot though,
no,
and under pressure.
No,
so
splits are always tough, but boy, oh boy, you don't want to. I don't think you want to miss heavy in that situation.
From not having any opportunity, though, it was there for them. So Dave Murdoch.
Routine shot for Team Scotland, and this will clinch the victory.
And it does, and it possibly would have been a Scotland victory anyway, but it would just made the end a little more interesting. Handshakes all round. Good win for the Scots. It's been a good day for them. They go into 2 victories, the same as Japan. Final score, Japan 4, Scotland 7.
David Murdoch acknowledging the support of this largely pro-Canadian crowd, but they recognize a competitive curling match, and Murdoch being a 2-time world champion himself, well known to the Canadian fans. Big victory for him today. Greg Drummond and Mike Goodfellow taking the opportunity to sign a couple of autographs for the fans. Happy to do it. It's been a great day at the office for Team Scotland. So that'll wrap it up here on day number 2 of the 2017 Ford World Men's Curling Championships. Been a great day, an interesting day. Lots of tight games, playing conditions, letting the players playing the full range of shots, and we've had some excitement, some drama. It's what we love to see. Play in the 5th end. See a red Japanese stone sitting available to David Murdoch. Nice control weight there from Murdoch. And a clutch deuce. And now the final stone for Japanese skip Yusuke Morozumi. Cluster of stones along the center line. He needs full 8-foot to save the end. But it comes up short onto the guard, and a crucial steal of 1 for Scotland. Disappointment for Morozumi. And number 7, nice play from Scotland, forcing Morozumi to look at 3 on his last. Makes the nose hit, but mission accomplished really for Scotland, a great force. And finally, the 10th end, Scotland running Japan out of rocks. Scotland with a great Sunday, their 2nd win on the day. They run out 7-4 winners. And we see a recap of our other games here on the evening session on the opening Sunday. China picking up their first victory with a 9-6 win over Russia. Canada, the home team, with a big 8-6 win over Nicodine from Sweden. And Norway rings up another win. A couple of tournament first-timers, 8-3 over the Netherlands. So, after session number 5, Canada is the only unbeaten team at 3-0. Italy, Japan, Norway, Scotland, Switzerland, all at 2-1. Sweden also at 2-1, so a real logjam there. China with their first victory tonight. Germany, United States also at 1-2. Netherlands and Russia looking for their first wins.
The scoreboard. So for us to dominate a team like Japan, I think that shows good signs for tomorrow.
In terms of performance rating, how did that compare to your previous games?
Yeah, I could say it's probably as good as this afternoon. Ice was a little bit different again. It was a little bit slower than this afternoon, so we had to adjust for that. But I think we adjusted well.
Well done, well played.
Thank you.
So that'll do it for us here in the evening session here in Edmonton. For our entire crew, Allison Walker, I'm Hans Frauenlaub. Thank you very much for joining us. Join us again tomorrow in the Ford World Men's Curling Championships.